2 weeks ago, we celebrated the news that we will be moving later this fall into a new campus for our West Fort Worth family, and it is completely paid for, and they will move into it debt-free. Now, if you're a visitor, you might think, how does a church move into a multi-million-dollar new home with no debt? And that's a great question. See, 2 years ago, in November of 2017, we launched something called the Courage Campaign, an audacious attempt to raise $30 million to do four things: to cover 2 years' worth of church plants and mission work, that was $5 million, to build a new campus for West Fort Worth, to renovate our South Lake campus, and to give our children's ministry at the North Richland Hills campus a facelift. Big, audacious go. So we promised updates, and I want to do that right now. Here's where we stand. Right now, we have received $18 million, and $3 million of that is unpledged giving. We have another $6 million in pledges that we hope will come in by Harvest November of this year. So that's not $30 million, but I am going to celebrate what has happened. Let me give you some context. You've given in 2 years $18 million to the Courage Campaign. You've given another $2 million to our two Renew offerings. Besides that, we have a $12.5 million a year annual budget that you have met. In the last 2 years, this church has given $45 million to the mission here at the Hills. I think that needs to be celebrated. Amen. So that is where we currently stand. So what does that mean? Well, the elders want you to know they're still committed to all three projects, and I think God led us to those conclusions. We are still committed to being a debt-free church. We don't do what we can't pay for. And so they've prayerfully decided, the elders of all three campuses have agreed on this, our next big project to undergo in the Courage Campaign will be the renovation of the South Lake campus. Now, we don't yet have enough money. So what that means is we're going to extend the Courage Campaign for just one more year, into November of 2020. What we need this November for our normal harvest offering and the extension is $5.6 million. The first $2.6 we collect will go immediately to fund church plants and mission works. The other $3 million, if we collect that, we'll have enough to break ground next spring and pay for the South Lake project. So that's the plan. Why South Lake next? Again, all the elders prayed about this, and we've concluded that we would prioritize the projects based on the way they were impeding growth. Now, if you've been to the South Lake campus, and I was there just last week, you know that building is a mess. The auditorium is too small and funky. You have no way to get access through the rest of the building without having to walk right through the auditorium, even during worship time. They have no atrium. They have no place to have any kind of event or church gathering. That building is impeding the potential of that campus to reach people. So we've concluded that's our next project. We're talking to the city of South Lake right now to get the proper permits so that when the money comes, we can break ground next spring. Why are we extending the campaign for one more year? 3 reasons. Number one, some of you have said, I fully intend to keep my pledge and fulfill it. I need a little more time. Because of some changes in my finances, I just need a little more time. So we're going to give you one more year. Also, in the last 2 years, a lot of people have come to our church that are new, that have not participated. This is your on-ramp. This is your way to join us in sacrificing for the mission of our church. And then finally, there are some of us who have made pledges and kept them, fulfilled them, and we think God is calling us to do more. So I make you a promise. I'm not going to stand on the stage this time next year and say, we are extending the Courage Campaign for one more year. The Courage Campaign ends November of 2020. So what does that mean for the North Richland Hills campus and the kids ministry that needs a major facelift? Just because it's not as pressing doesn't mean it's not as important. The only thing that has changed is the timing. It looks like it's going to be a little more in the future than we had originally hoped. The kids ministry and the building committee are meeting to talk about how to look at the plans and what we need to do to go forward. Everything over the 5.6 we collect in November, and I think we will go over because you've just been generous. Everything over that will go into a fund for the kids' part of our building at North Richland Hills campus. Also, to show you how committed our leaders are, you know at North Richland Hills campus, there's 8 acres of unused land to the east the church has owned for years. We've never had plans to build on that land, okay? You're going to see a for sale sign on that property soon. We are going to sell it, and all the money we get from that sale will go into the fund to renovate the kids area of North Richland Hills campus. Now, that sale won't completely cover the cost, but it is a huge, big step. So, right now, what we need to focus on is that this November, we need to fund our mission work and raise $3 million to finish the South Lake project. We say that we're one church, we're in 3 locations. We've always had great unity in our church. We believe that is a win for one campus is a win for all of us. When Jamie and I made our pledge to the Courage Campaign, we weren't giving to a campus, we were giving to the mission of the Hills Church. And we were trusting our elders to take the monies and decide how to prioritize what would happen next. So, that's a lot to absorb in just a couple of minutes. There is a fact sheet out on the Next Steps booth at every campus. If you want to know a little more, you can talk to a leader, an elder, a minister. And you know what? You can email me if you have any questions, and I will respond. But not during the Cowboy game, okay? I will not be emailing during the Cowboy game. I will be praying.